What does it really mean to break a record? Is it just about numbers on a scoreboard, or is it about changing how people see a sport forever? Welcome. I am Ava, and this is WNBA Trending. Today, we go back to March 3rd, a date that now holds a special place in college basketball history. On that day, representing the University of Iowa, Caitlin Clark became the NCAA's all-time leading scorer in major college basketball. It was a moment that instantly went viral, dominated headlines, and sparked conversations far beyond the game itself. But today, we're not just going to talk about the points she scored. We're going to talk about what that moment meant for women's basketball, for athlete culture, for media pressure, and for the next generation watching. Because records tell a story. And this one tells a much bigger story than most people realize. On March 3rd, during a nationally televised game, Caitlin Clark surpassed the long-standing NCAA scoring record. With a deep three-pointer, fitting for a player known for her range, she officially became the highest scorer in NCAA Division I history. The arena erupted. Her teammates surrounded her. Social media exploded within seconds. Statistically, it was historic. Emotionally, it felt transformative. For decades, women's college basketball had incredible athletes, legends, and champions. But rarely did a single moment feel like it shifted the center of gravity of the sport. This one did. So, why did this record resonate so widely? First, context matters. Caitlin Clark wasn't just scoring quietly over 4 seasons. She was doing it with flair, long-range shots, high assists, and visible confidence. She didn't just accumulate points. She commanded attention. And attention is powerful. Women's sports have often fought for visibility. Games were played at a high level for years, but coverage was limited. When Clark broke the record, it wasn't hidden in a box score. It was prime time. It was trending worldwide. It led national news broadcasts. That visibility changes perception. For many young viewers, especially young girls, this was the first time they saw a women's college basketball player treated like a mainstream sports superstar. Jerseys sold out. Arenas were packed on the road. Opposing venues filled up just to watch her play. The record symbolized more than scoring ability. It symbolized market demand. But let's look deeper. Breaking a scoring record at that level requires more than talent. It requires durability, mental resilience, and the ability to perform under extreme scrutiny. Every game in her senior season felt like an event. Every shot was analyzed. Every performance debated. That kind of spotlight creates a unique pressure. In modern sports, athletes aren't just competing against opponents. They are competing against narratives, expectations, and constant online commentary. Social media amplifies everything, praise and criticism alike. When Clark approached the record, countdown graphics appeared everywhere. Analysts tracked every point. Fans debated whether she would surpass it in one game or the next. Imagine being in that position. Every shot you take carries historical weight. Every miss becomes part of the discussion. This is the reality of being a modern sports icon. Athlete mental pressure today is unlike any previous era. In the past, players faced media interviews and newspaper headlines. Today, they face millions of real-time opinions. A single turnover trends instantly. A single comment clip circulates globally within minutes. Clark handled that environment with remarkable composure. But that doesn't mean it was easy. We often celebrate athletes for their confidence, but we rarely acknowledge the emotional labor involved in maintaining it. Being the face of a movement, whether you asked for it or not, comes with responsibility. There's also the issue of identity. When an athlete becomes a symbol, for growth in women's sports, for media progress, for youth inspiration, they stop being just a player. They become a representation. That can be empowering. It can also be heavy. March 3rd wasn't just about breaking a record. It was about carrying expectation and delivering under it. Another important layer is how media coverage shaped the moment. Major networks invested heavily in broadcasting her games. Documentaries were already in development. Sponsors leaned in. Sports debate shows discussed her impact daily. Some critics argued the attention was excessive. Others said it was long overdue. This raises an interesting question about media cycles. When does celebration become pressure? When does exposure become invasion? Social media makes this even more complicated. Clark's highlights went viral constantly, but so did commentary about her personality, her reactions, even her body language. Modern athletes live in a digital fishbowl. The same platforms that elevate them can also erode privacy. College athletes especially are in a transitional stage of life. They're still developing personally while performing professionally. The introduction of nil deals added financial opportunity and additional business responsibility. Clark navigated endorsement partnerships while preparing for nationally ranked opponents. She balanced brand commitments with practice schedules and academic responsibilities. That's not just athletic discipline. That's time management under a microscope. Breaking the NCAA scoring record became symbolic of a new era, where women's basketball is commercially viable, culturally relevant, and digitally dominant. But let's also talk about the team context. Records in basketball are individual milestones achieved within a collective structure. Clark's teammates set screens, made passes, defended opponents. Her coaching staff designed systems around her strengths. When one player reaches a historic number, it reflects years of institutional investment. Iowa's program embraced her style rather than restricting it. They allowed her to take deep shots early in possessions. They trusted her creativity. That trust matters. Now, zoom out further. What does this moment mean for the WNBA and professional basketball? When Clark entered the draft, viewership numbers followed. Preseason ticket sales increased. Her college popularity translated directly into professional market growth. That pipeline from NCAA stardom to professional economic impact is significant. It proves that when female athletes receive consistent exposure, fans respond. March 3rd validated that idea. But with growth comes new challenges. As the audience expands, scrutiny intensifies. Media narratives become louder. Rivalries are amplified. Comparisons dominate conversation. This environment tests emotional endurance. We have seen in many sports how online criticism affects mental health. Athletes speak openly now about anxiety, burnout, and performance pressure. The culture is evolving, but the demands remain high. Clark's record-breaking season coincided with debates about physical play, officiating standards, and sportsmanship. Every incident sparked polarized online reactions. This is modern sports culture. Immediate judgment. How can leagues protect players while embracing visibility? How can media outlets celebrate achievements without manufacturing conflict? These questions matter because records are fleeting, but mental health consequences can be lasting. Let's also consider generational influence. Young athletes watching that March 3rd moment didn't just see a number change on a scoreboard. They saw possibility expand. They saw that women's college basketball could command primetime ratings. Role modeling works through visibility. When children see someone who looks like them celebrated nationally, ambition becomes tangible. Clark's scoring record helped normalize the idea that women's basketball is not niche entertainment. It's mainstream sport. But with normalization comes expectation. Future stars will now be measured against her benchmark. The bar has moved. Standards rise. That's the nature of progress. Records invite competition. Competition fuels improvement. Improvement elevates the game. Yet we should remember that athletes are not machines designed to chase milestones. They are individuals navigating growth in public view. March 3rd is a reminder that greatness often develops quietly before it explodes publicly. Years of training, thousands of shots, countless unseen practices led to that one moment. We celebrate the highlight. We rarely acknowledge the invisible repetition. And that's another lesson beyond basketball. In a culture obsessed with viral moments, it's easy to forget the process behind them. Clark's journey shows that sustained excellence, not just one extraordinary game, builds legacy. Now, let's reflect on privacy again. In earlier eras, record-breaking athletes could step away from media cycles more easily. Today, digital connectivity erases boundaries. Fans expect constant updates. Algorithms reward engagement. Should athletes share every aspect of their lives? Or do they deserve greater separation between performance and personal identity? These conversations are ongoing across all sports. Clark has generally maintained a balanced public presence, professional, composed, measured. That's strategic. It's also protective. Because once the spotlight intensifies, stepping back becomes difficult. As we look back at March 3rd, it's important to analyze not just the celebration but the environment that produced it. Women's basketball had decades of pioneers before this. Legends built foundations without comparable media exposure. Clark benefited from their groundwork. She also expanded it dramatically. Progress is cumulative. The NCAA scoring record will eventually be broken again. That's how sports evolve. But certain moments mark turning points. They signal cultural shifts. March 3rd feels like one of those markers. It marked a transition from asking whether women's college basketball could draw mainstream interest to demonstrating that it already does. It challenged outdated narratives about marketability. It encouraged networks to invest more consistently. And it forced conversations about how we treat young superstars in the digital age. So, what should we take from this history? First, excellence deserves visibility. Second, visibility requires responsibility from media, from fans, from institutions. Third, athletes are human beings navigating extraordinary circumstances. When we celebrate records, we should also consider the weight carried alongside them. Because history isn't just numbers. It's impact. And Caitlin Clark's record-breaking moment continues to ripple outward into professional leagues, youth programs, sponsorship models, and cultural discussions about gender equity in sports. That's why March 3rd matters. Not just because a scoring total changed, but because perception shifted. And perception, in many ways, shapes opportunity. As we close today's reflection, think about this. Years from now, when someone else breaks that record, people will look back and trace the lineage of growth. They will mention this era as a catalyst. That's the power of a single moment handled with consistency and composure. For WNBA Trending, I'm Ava. History remembers numbers, but culture remembers meaning. And March 3rd gave us both. 3 questions for you. Do you think modern media attention helps athletes more than it pressures them? How should leagues balance player privacy with growing fan demand? Will moments like this permanently change the future of women's basketball?